Hot takes, great debates, highlights, basketball. Kyrie Irving will miss the remainder of the 2019-2020 NBA season with a shoulder injury that has plagued him so far. You know, it plagued him all of November, December-ish. He came back. He tried to make a run with the Nets, but his body just won't allow it. I'm starting to question that Kyrie Irving coming to this season with the right mental approach. Was he doing the right things to his body last summer? Was he ready to play basketball? You know, I'm looking at a list of Kyrie Irving's injury. I have my phone in my hand right now, right? Somebody posted a list of some of the injuries that Kyrie Irving has had since he's entered the NBA. This is kind of scary, ladies and gentlemen. Right shoulder, left shoulder, his hand, his left, both hands, right and left. His left knee, his right quad, his left quad, his left knee, his right foot, his toe, his back, his face, 3 or 4 times, right? He's had injuries with his face. He's missed like 3 or 4. He's had to leave the court for the entire season. He's missed the remainder of the season in 4 of his season in the league. He's only like 26, 27 years of age. I'm looking around at Kyrie Irving like, yo, my guy, are you okay? Is your heart and your mind in this? Because, you know, this year was a test run for the Brooklyn Nets with no Kevin Durant. You knew it was going to be an average season at best. But next year is the real deal. All right, when KD gets back, the pressure is on the both of you guards who have both won championships as not the A on your team, not the alpha. Kyrie with LeBron in Cleveland in 2016. KD obviously back-to-back with the Warriors in 17 and in 18. I'm looking around at these guys like, will y'all be ready to go? I know what KD's going to give me when he's healthy. Kyrie, I'm not so sure. You know, in this season, the Nets should have at least been what they were or higher, right? Let's break this down in theory. If you bring in Kyrie Irving, a guy who's won an NBA championship, who most people believes a better overall player than D'Angelo Russell. Forget KD. Because you get KD, you trade Russell and you get KD, all right? So you have no KD this year. But since KD's out, essentially you got Russell for Kyrie since you signed him in free agency. So you got Russell, you move out Russell, you got Kyrie in with pretty much that nucleus that you had in Brooklyn last year. Spencer, Joe. Now you add DeAndre to that mix as well. Caris LeVert is back in action this year. So I'm thinking to myself, if I get a better player, a better all-star in Kyrie, you guys were the 6th seed in the East last year, right? Y'all should have at least been able to stay there, stay pat. They're fighting for a playoff spot right now. They might not make it to the big dance. They've been awful with Kyrie Irving on the court. And their record would be worse if Kyrie Irving played more games. That team has been at their best this year when Spencer has been running the one and either him or Caris LeVert has been the primary options offensively. They would be out of the playoffs if Kyrie was playing every game this year. Kyrie got up to a hot start in October and slumped right after that. How do you gain an all-star and you're worse of a basketball team? Does Kyrie want to play ball? I know Kobe's death hit him differently. These two were extremely close. Kobe was the first guy Kyrie Irving called after he won that championship in 16. Be clear, but I'm looking at Kyrie Irving, the teammate. It has not been good for Kyrie Irving, the teammate. Can I revisit you a little bit of this man's history? Before LeBron decided to go back to Cleveland, this team was very bad. The only reason I believe you're able to get LeBron James back to Cleveland is because you got a big 3. The only way you're able to get a big 3 is because you had the number 1 pick in which you drafted Andrew Wiggins, and which LeBron knew before he joined that Cleveland team again, you could ship Andrew Wiggins out for Kevin Love. So you get LeBron to come back to Cleveland because that team was piss poor awful with Kyrie Irving being the number 1, a former number 1 overall pick out of Duke. LeBron gets to Cleveland. You win big. You win a championship in 2016. There was a year of Kyrie in Cleveland after the championship year. You do realize that. 2017, the East is weak. Boston's got Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah Thomas was in and out of the lineup. It was the year that his sisters passed, and he was playing pretty much on one leg. All right, he was banged up. Back hurting, legs hurting, everything was hurting for Isaiah Thomas that year. You beat the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Reportedly, you wouldn't even talk to your teammates for days at a time during that series. Yes, there's a report out there that Kyrie Irving wouldn't even communicate back with his teammates off the court during that series because he already had his mind out the door. After the season, first off, you get blown out and disrespected by the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. After the season, after losing in 5 to the Warriors, you go and demand a trade out of Cleveland. You get traded to Boston. A lot of people thought you're behind and end up in Phoenix somewhere. You luck up and get traded to Boston. The first season is amazing for 3/4 of the season. We get around March. Your injury-prone behind gets injured again. The Celtics have to go in the playoffs without you. Under a young Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going up against Giannis and company, they make it to the second round of the playoffs. They take on Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Celtics somehow beat Philly. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're taking on LeBron James and the Cavs. You're out for the playoffs, and you decide in Game 7 to go get mouth surgery instead of being on the bench with your team while they were at home in Boston, taking on Cleveland in Game 7? What? I'd have hit the what button for that on the segment I do on my other platform. I don't get that one bit. Let's move on to 2018. After you missed the playoffs with your Celtics team in 2017, the 2018 season arises. Your last technically in Boston before free agency. In a pep rally right before the season, you tell that Boston Celtics crowd, if y'all will have me, I want to be here long term. The Celtics struggled throughout the season. I'm talking about they never got it going. Marcus Morris is upset. Jaylen Brown is upset. Jason Tatum doesn't look like the number 3 pick in the draft from a couple years back. This team looks average at best. You guys end up losing in the second round of the playoffs to the Milwaukee Bucks. After saying you were going to commit to Boston long term, you dip and go to Brooklyn. Now we get to Brooklyn. You play it out of your mind for the first few weeks of the season. You get injured. You injure your shoulder. You come back from injury after missing about 20 games. In your first game back, you diss half of your Nets team, saying a lot of you guys won't be here a lot of these guys won't even be here next year? What? Kyrie Irving, the leader. Now Kyrie Irving, the vice president of the NBA Players Association, baffles me in his decision making from time to time. Never seen this guy as a teammate, and I'll tell you what I believe. I don't believe he relates with a lot of guys in the locker room. Who does Kyrie Irving relate to? He doesn't relate to the street dudes, the dudes that come from nothing that make it to the NBA. And I think he rubs some of the more intelligent guys in the NBA the wrong way as well. Where does he fit in at? Where in the locker room does he fit in? I believe he's a know-it-all, a great talent, but a know-it-all who doesn't know a lot about a lot of stuff. And it plagues him in the locker room. And the only guy that wants to play with him, ironically, the only guy that wants to play basketball with him that are elite, in an elite category, is a guy that has a burner Twitter account. Kyrie Irving will miss the remainder of the season with the Brooklyn Nets, probably for the better of the team, as he deals with a shoulder injury. Get well soon, Kyrie. I hope you're ready to play ball next year. Look forward to seeing you and KD on the court, because this season was an absolute disaster, and you were part of the disaster. You in the sports, we got you. NFL news, I got you. NBA news, NBA highlights, NBA full coverage, feature stories, all that great stuff, I got you. We even got a little bit of Madden and 2K mixed in. Subscribe to this platform, and I got you. More quality content on the way. Subscribe.